folks, the socialists are on the march. And I mean that literally. They are marching, they are primarying, they are pool jumping in suits, and they are winning. The Democratic Socialists of America, fresh off their New York City triumph, have set their sights on Colorado, Michigan, and Wisconsin. They are coming for the whole country, my friends. And the Democrat Party's so-called leadership, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, the whole sad parade of them, they don't know what to do about it. And we know this because Chuck Schumer marched in the New York City Pride Parade yesterday, waving his rainbow flag, bullhorn in hand, and got booed by his own people, by the very people he has spent 30 years pandering to. They booed him. They didn't want him there. I have to tell you, I saw that and I thought, this might be the most entertaining thing I have witnessed in a very long time. See, when the left starts eating itself, you don't get angry. You pull up a chair. I'm Rick LeBow. This is Rush Hour, and we are just getting started. My friends, let me tell you about what is happening to the Democrat Party right now, because it is a story that is extraordinary in its scope and in its implications and in its sheer entertainment value for those of us sitting on the right side of this great national argument. The Democratic Socialists of America, the DSA, for those of you not keeping score at home, have been on a tear. They helped put Zohran Mamdani in the mayor's chair in New York City. That's the fellow who jumped fully clothed in a suit into a public pool in East Harlem last week to celebrate the anniversary of the city's pool program. Suit, jacket, tie, into the pool. Just cannonballed right in there. Now, look, I'm not going to begrudge a man a swim. It's summer. New York is hot. But this is your mayor, folks. This is the man running the largest city in America. And he is a self-described democratic socialist who believes he could one day be elected president of the United States. He said that out loud, by the way. Not in a back room, not in a whisper. He sent it to reporters. A democratic socialist in the White House. He really believes this. Now, here's where it gets serious. Because the DSA's success in New York has emboldened them to go national. They are targeting primaries in Colorado, Michigan, and Wisconsin. And in Denver, a 30-year House incumbent, Diana DeGette, a 15-term congresswoman, is now fighting for her political life against a DSA-backed challenger endorsed by Bernie Sanders. 15 terms. 30 years in that seat, and she might lose it to a socialist in Colorado. Not Vermont, not San Francisco, Colorado. Now, let me ask you something. Let me ask you to think about what this tells us about the Democrat Party right now. Because I have been watching this party for a long, long time. With my talent on loan from God, I have seen every twist and turn these people have made. And I want to tell you something. The Democrat establishment is in a panic that they are not willing to fully admit. You've got Schumer and Jeffries on one side, and on the other side, you've got an army of young, fired-up, card-carrying socialists who think Schumer and Jeffries are sellouts, are collaborators, are too cozy with Wall Street, too soft on Israel, not radical enough on housing, not committed enough to the revolution. The revolution. They're talking about a revolution in Denver against a 15-term congresswoman who has voted with the left her entire career, and she's not radical enough. Now, think about what that means for a second. When Joe Biden, confused, tottering Joe Biden, who had to ask someone for directions off a stage on Saturday in Maryland after giving a speech accusing Trump of corruption, when he is considered the moderate wing of your party, you have a problem. You have a serious structural ideological problem that a slogan is not going to fix. Here's the thing about socialism that the American left never, ever wants to confront honestly. And I mean never. I know the left, folks. I know them like I know every square inch of my gloriously, magnificently contoured self. I know them better than they know themselves. And one thing I know is that when their ideas fail, and they always fail, they never conclude that the ideas were wrong. They conclude that the ideas weren't applied fully enough. Venezuela, Cuba, the Soviet Union. Every single time, the answer from the American socialist is, well, that wasn't real socialism. Of course not. It never is. Real socialism is always just around the corner, just one more election away, just one more program away, just one more expropriation away from the workers' paradise they've been promising since Karl Marx was scribbling in a London library. And now they want to bring it here, to Colorado, to Michigan, to Wisconsin, to your neighborhood. Now, the establishment Democrats, and I want to be clear, I don't feel sorry for them, not one bit. But they are watching this happen, and they are genuinely alarmed. The New York Post had a piece about it. Schumer and Jeffries, the two top Democrats in the country, are being told they need to get real about the enemy to their left. The enemy to their left. Think about that phrase for a moment. There are people to Chuck Schumer's left who are his enemies. That is where we are. And Schumer, bless his heart, marched in the Pride Parade yesterday with a bullhorn and a rainbow flag, and they booed him. They screamed at him. His own coalition, the people he has served faithfully for 3 decades, told him to get lost. I have to tell you, I am having more fun than a human being should be allowed to have watching this unfold. But here's my point, and I do have one. Here is why this matters for you and me and everyone listening across this fruited plain. The DSA is not a fringe operation anymore. These are not college kids with Che Guevara posters in their dorm rooms. These are people who are winning primaries, winning elections, taking seats. And their agenda, universal child care, taxpayer-funded abortions, defunding the police, sanctuary city policies, cashless bail, that agenda is going to be on your ballot. Maybe not this cycle, maybe next cycle, but it is coming. And the reason it is coming is because the Democrat establishment has been too cowardly to stop it. For years, they made common cause with the hard left when it was convenient. They embraced the language, they adopted the talking points, they bent the knee to every progressive pressure campaign, and now the monster they helped create is eating them alive. I want you to remember this moment. Right now, in the summer of 2026, the Democrat Party is watching a hostile takeover in slow motion, and the people running it, Mamdani jumping into pools in his best suit, DSA challengers knocking off 30-year incumbents, they are not hiding who they are. They are not moderating for the general election. They are not triangulating. They are telling you exactly what they believe and exactly what they intend to do. Good. I appreciate the honesty. It makes the argument easier. Because when the American people get a clear choice between the America that made this country the greatest nation in the history of human civilization and whatever Zoran Mamdani is offering, I believe with every fiber of my being that the American people will choose correctly. They chose correctly in 2024. They chose correctly in 2016, and they will choose correctly again. But only if we pay attention, only if we do not fall asleep, only if we treat this socialist march as the serious threat that it is, even while we are, as I am, thoroughly entertained by watching Chuck Schumer get booed at a parade. All right, my friends, let's go to the roundup. 3 stories, rapid fire. Let's go. First up, Iran. Big news, folks. After the United States launched strikes against multiple targets in Tehran, and I remind you this has been an ongoing operation, Iran and the U.S. have agreed to a pause in hostilities and are engaging in talks this week. Iran had responded to our strikes with retaliatory attacks on Bahrain and Kuwait. Friendly countries, our partners. They hit them. And Senator Roger Marshall was on television yesterday saying that what we are now in is a, quote, mop-up operation. That is a man who sounds confident. That is a man who sounds like the situation is trending in our direction. Now, the drive-by media will spend this week telling you that any deal with Iran is somehow a capitulation. They will find some former Obama-era diplomat, probably someone who helped write the original Iran nuclear deal, the deal that gave the mullahs a pathway to the bomb. And that person will explain, with great gravity, why whatever Trump is doing is wrong. Don't believe a word of it. The Iranians launched strikes on our allies. We hit them hard. Now they want to talk. That is called leverage, folks. That is called negotiating from strength. You don't have to wonder how that compares to the Obama years. You already know. I want to see what comes out of these talks. But the fact that Iran came to the table after getting hit, and not the other way around, tells you everything about who is projecting strength and who is not. Second, the socialists coming for Washington, D.C. Janice Lewis George, city council woman, likely next mayor of Washington, D.C., is now locked in a standoff with President Trump before she's even taken office. Trump called her a communist on social media, vowed he will not let her destroy the city, and then, in classic Trump fashion, turned around and said he would meet with her. Only Trump can call someone a communist in the morning and schedule a meeting with them by afternoon. Now, here's what you need to know about her platform. Sanctuary city policies, cashless bail, opposition to ICE enforcement, taxpayer-funded abortions, universal child care. Washington, D.C. is a federal city. The President of the United States has authority over that city that he does not have over, say, Chicago or Los Angeles. And Trump knows it, and she knows it, and this is going to be a collision that will be very illuminating. She wants D.C. to be a sanctuary city. Trump wants deportations. One of them controls the federal government. The other controls the city council. I think I know how this ends. But beyond the political theater, there is a real city here. There are real people living in Washington, D.C. who deserve public safety, who deserve a functioning government, who deserve a mayor who is focused on running a city and not on hosting a political protest in the form of an administration. The residents of D.C. will live with the consequences of this election. I hope they chose carefully. Third and finally, and I love this one, Chuck Schumer. I already mentioned the booing at the Pride Parade. But I want to go deeper because this is a story about the complete, total, spectacular collapse of the old Democrat coalition. Chuck Schumer is the Senate Minority Leader, the highest-ranking Democrat in the country in terms of institutional power. He has been in the Senate since 1999. He has been a fixture of New York progressive politics for his entire career. He is beloved, or was beloved, by every left-wing constituency you can name, and they booed him at the parade. They didn't just ignore him. They booed him. They heckled him. Now, why? Partly because the hard left views Schumer as insufficiently hostile to Israel. Partly because he hasn't done enough to block Trump, as if that were even possible with the numbers they have. Partly because the DSA crowd views anyone associated with the old Democrat establishment as a traitor to the cause. This is the party that wants to run the country, folks. This is the party that wants to manage the economy, run the military, control your health care. They can't even march in a parade without getting booed by their own base. Senator Mark Kelly, Democrat from Arizona, was out this weekend saying that Biden did a bad job on the border, admitting it, finally, out loud. I believe the technical term for what Senator Kelly is doing is called stating the obvious 4 years too late. Welcome to the party, Senator. We've been here the whole time. Pull up a chair. We have snacks. The Democrat Party is fragmenting in real time, and the only real question is whether what replaces the old establishment is the radical DSA wing, or whether someone with actual good sense emerges from the rubble. I know where I'm putting my money. My friends, a week from Saturday is the 4th of July. And I want to close today with something that I think is worth saying, because sometimes in the noise of all of this, the socialists and the pool-jumping mayors and the Iran strikes and the booing at parades, sometimes it's easy to lose the thread. The thread is this: America is worth fighting for. Not the America of the DSA, not the America of Zoran Mamdani or Janice Lewis George or whoever the next revolutionary flavor of the month turns out to be. The real America, the America of the founders. The America that decided 250 years ago that individuals have rights that governments cannot take away, that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are not granted by a king or a bureaucracy or a centrally planned economy, but are endowed by a creator and belong to every single American by virtue of their existence. That idea is what they are trying to dismantle, one primary at a time, one city council seat at a time, one pool jump at a time. And every time I see them doing it, I think, the American people are not stupid. They have been surprised before. They have been fooled before. But when they finally fully see what is being proposed, when the mask comes all the way off, and the Democratic Socialist stands up and says, yes, this is what I believe. This is what I will do to your city and your state and your country. The American people have always ultimately said no. I believe they will say no again. Fire up the grill next weekend, folks. Watch the fireworks. Kiss your kids. And remember what the holiday is actually about. It is not about a day off work. It is about the most radical, audacious, world-changing act of self-governance in the history of civilization. 250 years and counting. Still the greatest country on earth. Don't let anyone tell you different. Don't let the DSA tell you different. Don't let the drive-by media tell you different. Don't you doubt me on this. I'm Rick Liebow. This has been Rush Hour. Same time tomorrow if they let us back on.